So what's up everyone, it's Bert here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Jurassic World Evolution 2, which recently came out on Xbox Game Pass. So in this video, I just want to kind of cover the similarities from this game and the predecessor, and also kind of cover the differences that may or may not make this game better than the first. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give my recommendation, keeping in mind that I am a little biased, but I'll try to be fair and objective, so stay tuned. So let's get started with this review. First off, I did finish the campaign. It was pretty short in terms of how many missions there were. There was only 5. And the story at one point was teased to be something a little more than it actually was. And in this game, the campaign dives into the events after the second Jurassic World movie. You're just trying to wrangle them up, put them back in cages again, and a lot of the characters are the same from the first game. And the story doesn't really go anywhere, so that's a knock against the game. But the campaign I thought served more as a tutorial to the other features of the game since it was so short. And if you want to keep playing it, there are other modes, 2 other modes included. One's a challenge mode, and one is chaos theory mode. Chaos theory, you reenact and relive the moments from the movies, from all the movies, going all the way back to Jurassic Park. You just try to not let the bad things happen. And challenge mode reminded me a lot of the first game, where in the first game you're trying to build a park, so you're trying to bring in guests and have them spend money and make money on these dinosaurs and all that. So challenge mode is a lot like that, at least from the first level that I played. It's like a timed objective. So there's 3 settings, like easy, medium, and hard. And if you choose a harder setting, you have less time to accomplish the goal, which ultimately is to get like a 5-star park. Also in the challenge mode, if you don't play the campaign, you just hit the ground running. So I recommend you do play a little bit of the campaign, kind of get a feel for it. But there are some things in the challenge mode that if you haven't played the first game either, you're kind of not going to get. I do want to kind of touch on a lot of the similarities between this game and the first game. So if you have played the first game, you'll feel very comfortable with all the controls and how everything kind of works and like what your objectives are and how you're supposed to accomplish certain tasks. So the buildings are more or less the same. You have the viewing galleries, you have response teams, expedition center, and so those things are still there. They're carrying, they carry over from the first game. The basic core gameplay hasn't really changed too much. So that they just added on top of that. So that now is where I'm going to get into the differences. So one of the main differences is, well, I wouldn't say main. So there are a few different differences between this game and the first one. One of them being more things to manage. So in this game, you have to manage your vehicles a little bit more. Your kind of like ranger buildings and medical buildings. Also, the scientists require a little bit more attention this time around. You can't really work them to the to death. So you assign the scientists different tasks, and they go about completing it within, I don't know, a couple minutes. Obviously, you can upgrade to decrease time. Certain scientists have certain abilities that help decrease certain the time in certain tasks or the cost. But I feel like it adds another layer to this game, which I find appealing. So another key difference from this game and the last game, it's the ability to pause the game, like to pause time. I felt like that does come in handy, but when you do pause time, things don't get built. Certain tasks are put in queue for when you do resume, then they will complete or whatnot. So when you're doing research or you're putting a scientist to rest or whatever, you can fast forward the time so that time does go faster, which I do appreciate because even though it's only a couple minutes for each little task, they do add up. Also, another big difference, the food for the herbivores is not coming out of feeders or dispensers. You actually have to plant the food sources for these animals now, and which plays into their habitat needs. But you can have multiple herbivores, and you can have dinosaurs living with carnivores. That's something new too. And I like how the game tells you right off the bat, you don't have to do any like research. As long as you bring the dinosaurs in, it'll tell you which dinosaurs you can pair them with. So, and one of the last things you kind of have to, part of the management aspect of it is when you're trying to build kind of like attractions for the guests. They come in different sizes, and they also have different properties to them that you can change. So each guest has like different preferences, and that will affect the needs of the building, the properties that you should put in place for that building. And lastly, probably the biggest difference is the inclusion of aviaries and lagoons, is what they're called. So pretty much you can include flying dinosaurs and swimming dinosaurs. I really only mess with the aviary, but I did enjoy. I liked the look of it. I liked how it looks in the park. So when I go through the challenge mode again, I'm gonna have a little bit of focus on that. All in all, this game is it's I like it, but as I mentioned before, I am a little bit biased. I am a big fan of the series in general, and but I feel like this game is very similar to the first one, which is always a good thing. You know, you always want to kind of have similar mechanics, similar gameplay, and this game does add certain things to improve on that. So I feel like they did a good job overall. It's not perfect by any means. Like I mentioned earlier, the campaign suffers a little bit, but I understand that they probably had their hands tied, these developers, because they don't want to take the story somewhere different than where the movie ends up. Because I do feel like the development of this game kind of relied a lot on the movies. So I can kind of see why they didn't really branch the story off somewhere or really take it in a new direction, since this game kind of takes place in the middle between the new movie and the second one. And so yeah, I can see why they weren't able to do that, but it makes the game not that great, unfortunately. On the technical side, the game has issues with frame rates. I noticed that the install size of the game is very small, maybe like 8 GB or less. So that has me thinking that most of the game has a lot of online features, and that I feel can kind of make the frame rates a little bit jittery. So now, yeah, I mean, I would recommend it if this type of game is something you enjoy. There's very minimal action bits. You do get control of the ranger vehicles again. You do get control of the helicopters. There are portions where you can fly outside of the park range and, capture these wild dinosaurs or tranquilize them or whatnot. So there are kind of cool moments. If you like park management simulators, then definitely try this game out. I definitely recommend it. It's on Game Pass. It just came out too, so it's probably going to be on here for a little while. I think the first game is still on there, so if you want to kind of dabble in that one. And so, yeah, I recommend checking it out. And so that's going to be the end of this video. If you do want to check out other videos related to Jurassic World Evolution, I did a whole Twitch stream for it, for the whole campaign. So if you want to check it out there, you can. It's on my channel. But until then, thanks for stopping by. Hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.